Welcome to ChiroSecure's Empowering Women in Chiropractic, the Facebook Live show for successful women by successful women, proving once again women make it happen. Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. Now join today's host, Dr. Nicole Lindsey, as she talks overhead, debt, and creating other sources of income. And now, here's Dr. Nicole.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole Lindsey, founder of Dominate ChiroMarketing, where I teach chiropractors how to build relationships and bridges with MDs to grow their practices, enhance their credibility, and improve our profession and the health of everybody. Thank you for being with us today. I have a very special guest today. She's a chiropractor, an entrepreneur, an author. She is an empowerment and business coach. She is an amazing woman doing it all, and she's going to share her brilliance with us today. Welcome, Dr. Kim Carpenter.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Nicole. It's awesome to be here. I can't wait to dive into some fun topics.
Yes. So before we do that, I always like to give ChiroSecure some love and appreciation because they deserve it. We would not be here if it weren't for them. And
Agreed.
They spend countless hours and days and putting together information for our profession to keep us protected, to keep us educated, to keep us growing, and all of that. So give them some love and appreciation. So, Dr. Kim, I'm going to dive right in because I'm excited to get talking about this stuff. You have developed an empowerment program for families that chiropractors can use in their practice to help teach patients to eat well, think well, and move well. So why is this important? Isn't just being a chiropractor enough?
Well, being a chiropractor is enough, but I absolutely wanted to expand on that. And what I found in practice, after about 16 years of practice and then having children, I had a really hard time finding resources to educate my own children about the chiropractic lifestyle. And so I knew if I was a chiropractor and having trouble finding resources, I can only imagine what my practice members were, the challenges they were facing, that it wasn't coming up through the school system, for kids to really learn about healthy eating in the way that chiropractors would present it, or healthy moving, or even really why the spine and nervous system are important. And so it led me to found and develop the Live Well Warriors. And yes, that program is designed to empower children and to hopefully educate children so that they can educate their families on why it's important to care for the nervous system and why it's important to care for the body, and then how you do that. And so yes, it's a children's book series and empowerment program to educate individuals about the chiropractic lifestyle and start from day one. And so, yes, it's enough to be a chiropractor, but getting the message out, as you know, is critical, and how you do that matters. And so that's where this program has filled a huge void that goes on within our profession and with our families.
Absolutely. I find that kids, when you educate them too, you don't have to break down barriers and walls and things that adults tend to accumulate over time, and you get to see that light bulb go off, when you educate children. I don't know if that's happened to you in practice. I'm sure it has.
And it's part of what drove this. I mean, I honestly got really tired of having to teach adults things they really should have known when they were kids. And so for me, I said, I'm going to skip the roadblocks that a lot of adults have, and let's go one generation below them, and let's change the next generation in the way that they live. And that was the purpose of creating the whole program, because most generations, if you look back, whether it's from tobacco to seatbelts or whatever other habits there are, there's a generation that thinks certain things are a certain way. And then honestly, a lot of times it's the kids that come home and say, I really feel more comfortable if you wore your seatbelt. Well, I want this next generation saying, I'd really feel more comfortable if we got our spine checked first. Or I'd really feel more comfortable if we didn't buy that food that was genetically modified. And I know that can happen because as I was developing this, my children literally went to people's homes and would ask, is this GMO, or why weren't you adjusted? Or because that's what they grew up learning, but we gave them the tools to be able to share that with their friends or with their schools so that they could then educate their friends about that. And then within the practice, it's so nice to hand every new practice member a gift pack of the Live Well Warriors to empower their whole family. And then of course their whole family is getting checked, or they're using it within the community. But there just weren't enough tools to do that. There were tools on thinking, and there were tools on maybe eating, but there was nothing that encompassed the whole chiropractic lifestyle with the nervous system as the foundation. And so that's where this was developed. Yeah.
So how long have you been practicing?
I've been in practice for 16 years. So I'm in my 16th year. Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen kids take this book from when they were little, when you developed it, or take this message and maybe pursue a career in chiropractic or in natural health? Or have you seen it turn into
something? Well, the books have been around. They've started writing them 3 years ago, and they've launched last year. The programs around the books. So I have an entire Live Well Warrior Day, and that can be downloaded, and we can go over that down the road. But that piece, that's been going on for over a decade of just activities that we've used within our practice to educate individuals and to create, kids' days, and to go into a school program and do an interactive, activity that really clicks with parents and with teachers. So yes, I've seen individuals and children, tell me, I started doing affirmations when I saw you when I was in 4th grade, and now they're in college and they're doing things very differently, So yes, those pieces stick. And I think that's really the key with just our profession. If we want to be known as this is lifetime care and this is caring for the spine and nervous system, then those foundations have to occur when they're younger. And they do live differently because of it. So yes, I found it to be effective.
Yeah, I can imagine how empowering that is for children and how it can change their life. Now, you talk about writing your story and how that can help with your own legacy. What do you mean by that?
For me, as much as the Live Well Warriors is definitely about helping change the face of chiropractic and to help to, allow other chiropractors or practitioners to implement certain systems within their practice, it is also about leaving a legacy. And for me, my practice will be a form of my legacy, but the Live Well Warriors will be a form of my legacy. I want the world to know what I stood for. I want the world to know that I left a mark in some way. And I want my kids in this next generation to be able to use these tools down the road. So for me, I think it's important. I know there's stages of practice. So I know that when individuals are, getting out of school and, maybe we're working with a student and we're trying to help them transition, their thoughts are really different. But then I find that when individuals get to practice where they're in that 5 to 10 year mark, they start to think, all right, how else can I contribute to this world? So for me, telling your story, whether that's writing a book that's geared towards adults, which that's on my docket right now or I'm working on, or whether that's writing your books for children's or whatever that is for you, I do believe that leaving your mark on this world is important. And so, and saying what you stand for is important. And it's pretty real to put a book out there, and there's people who love certain things in it, and there's people who kind of don't. And that's just putting yourself out there, and you do that. And you see practitioners and women across our whole industry right now just rising up and telling their story. And I think it matters a lot that what you leave, when your time here is, when you've moved on. Yeah.
Well, you're certainly doing that. I mean, you're definitely in your young age accomplishing that and more. So how have you used these books? And is it one book that you've authored so far?
There are 4 books. And so there's the first book is really about the chiropractic experience and the lifestyle. And it touches on how you eat and how you move. And, this child's getting her nervous system checked before kindergarten and her spine checked before kindergarten. She's actually extremely nervous that she won't get to go to kindergarten because she thinks that her backpack will be too heavy, her spine may not be strong enough, and is she going to be ready, or does she have the tools? And literally the warriors build her a toolkit for her school, which is how you think, how you eat, how you move, and a healthy nervous system. So that's one of the books. There's an environmental-based book on caring for the world that you live in. And then there's another one that is full on about affirmations and the words you use. There's a worrywart character that just gets bigger and bigger when you say challenging things to yourself. And he really shrinks when you start to get positive. So it brings a lot of things that we want to teach chiropractors or kids or families about in the way that they approach their lifestyle. And then there's solely an affirmation book for kids. And then they can also do that through affirmation decks. One of the most powerful activities we've done in our office is to literally give every single child or any parent with a child a 52-week affirmation deck that kid can use all year long before they go to bed or when they start their day. And it has been phenomenal. We have teachers using them in their classrooms for kids that we know. A lot of kids within our practices, have anxiety, ADHD issues, sensory integration, all these things that seem to be getting more and more common. So to give some coping skills is awesome. And to do that with parents who have kids, they start to then ask me more questions about, well, why would you create that? Or why do you do that? Why is that important? A perfect window for me to talk about the nervous system and the spine and how a child lives. And yes, then that leads to them getting their children checked.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that idea. So that was my next question. How are the many ways that you use these books to help build your practice?
My favorite way is, so there is a download if anybody is interested. It's a gift, and you can go to toinspirewomen.com/LWW for Live Well Warriors. There are over 15 different activities. Now, we do those frequently within our office, or we partner with a yoga studio, or we go into a school, and we literally help children build a nervous system. We literally help children, do different types of food activities with food or with movement. So those are done regularly, and we may have a theme throughout our month within the office, and that activity is always available in our kids area for children to participate in. Now, the parents obviously learn through that. The other avenue is definitely either the affirmation deck or one affirmation at each visit for a kid. And then definitely the books we use, they're in our children's area. So if we have a wait or the children are playing, that's what they're reading. I'm very selective about what they get to read within our office, and it matches the brand and the mission of what we're trying to create. So the biggest, most profound one is the download, because we literally partner with people throughout the community. And that builds more, like what, you build referral sources with other professions. And that's been phenomenal to really help grow our practice and spread our message.
Yeah, I think just the idea of being an author, just having a book series that you wrote would help build your credibility in and of itself. Not to mention being able to give those affirmations, have these programs revolving around this theme. It does sound a bit like a lot of information that a chiropractor might say, well, geez, that's a lot. How am I going to implement that? Are there systems that you have put in place to help the chiropractor implement this process?
Yeah, for sure. So, in the download, you actually can, my CA manages all of that because it's step by step. So they know what supplies we may need. They know who we need to market with within the community, or how we're going to make that day come to a reality. So it is about creating systems around it. Now, I've done a lot of that for people out of testing and doing some things. And then it's also critical for an individual to know their own brand and then how they want to grow their practice internally or externally. And I believe you should have missions for both, right? So I like to call it empowerment, not necessarily marketing, because my internal empowerment programs are designed to empower all the practice members we meet internally. And then I have systems lined out, yes, for empowering the community. And how are you going to do that? So our external empowerment is built on how you contact a school and what you're going to do at that school. Are you donating these books, say, to a library and putting your office sticker on the inside so that every time someone's in there and they open it, your office is known, right? So there are lots of little tricks, trades, but it is all system driven. Any successful office is going to have systems to back up everything that they use, and you monitor and tweak and see what's working. But at a re-exam, do you use these tools to help educate? And yes, all of that's built into every single thing we do in our office.
So not only do you give the chiropractors the tools, the actual content, but you give them the systems so that they can implement it. So that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. And they can always reach out to me. I mean, I've had people say, we bought 50 books for an event we're having, but how can we make it better? We'll just email, we'll hop on the phone and we'll talk about how that can work for your office, because your office might have different needs, desires, or brand than what mine did, but it can always be tweaked to work for someone. Yeah.
For sure. I love it. Now, not only are you empowering patients, young and old, in your practice and your community, but now you're empowering other DCs, and you have a coaching business as well to inspire women. So you've partnered with a couple chiros. And what's your favorite part of that?
I love working with students or new grads. It's absolutely my favorite part, because I know that how you start matters and where you start matters. And so it is my favorite thing to connect with a student or a newer grad, someone under 5 years, and help them lay out the systems to attract what they want to attract, brand how they want to brand it, and then create wealth. Because I absolutely I see the struggle with students and I see the challenges that they face from all those categories, but I know it's possible to create wealth. And if you start right, it really matters. And so for me, my favorite part of To Inspire Women is tapping into these brains that are just literally ready to take off and making sure they do it right. I had a student in my office all week who just literally drove up from life, wanted to shadow, and we dove into so much so that she's ready. I mean, she knows what she needs to do. So whether I'm at Logan or at Life or another school, is developing those systems with somebody who's brand new to help them create it right from the start and how they want it. Not some scripted, this is how you do it, A to B to C. Literally, what do you want and how do you create that based on who you are?
Well, I know that you are already a success with that and going to be even more so.
Thank you.
I wish I had your help when I was coming out of school, for sure.
You've done very well, Nicole. You've done a great job.
Well, thank you so much for
absolutely.
For your journey, what you're doing. You are amazing. And we are so fortunate to have you in our profession, helping these young grads, these older grads, everybody, and sharing the message of chiropractic through your Live Well Warrior program and books. So thank you for everything that you do.
And thank you. And thank you to ChiroSecure. I agree. They have helped me from the day I started my practice, and huge resource and different than any other person providing the services that we have within this profession. They're phenomenal. So thank you.
I agree. Make sure next week you tune in to our show. We have Dr. Tony Ebel doing the pediatric show. Thank you so much for watching today, and hope you have an empowered day.
Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. We hope you enjoyed this week's Facebook Live event. Please like us on Facebook, comment, and share. We look forward to seeing all of you next week for another episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. Now, go ahead and hit the share button and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. This has been a ChiroSecure production.